Well, it's been a little while since I didn't work out in the garage. Uh, what I'm working on today is two things really. I had a leak, an oil leak coming right from underneath the junction of the transmission to the engine block. Hey, Big Daddy! And and I always forgot to say that. And so I had a leak, and I also wanted to replace the clutch because the clutch was chattering a little bit when I first take off, and it wasn't a good quality clutch anyway. So what I did was I upgraded to the Excetti clutch, made in Japan as opposed to the AutoZone piece of junk. I have a larger, that a flywheel now is off a ZX, which has a 240 millimeter flywheel versus a 225. It's a little bit wider contact patch here. Replaced the bearing on the throwout bearing. That's a quality throwout bearing. I've got all my stuff set up here. I've already placed the pilot bush. This is the pilot bush right here. What happened here was, I used the clutch install tool to check the fitment, and you can tell if it's very loose. So I went ahead and used the puller, replaced that, drove it down to the correct, depth in the crankshaft. I'll show you that in a minute. And I'm replacing the rear main. Here is me pulling the rear main off. You just take a sharp hardened screw, like a drywall screw, drive it in, make sure you don't contact the wear surface or the crankshaft seal surface. Drive that in, get a pair of pliers, pull that out. Rear main's out. I've got a new Nissan rear main to go. I've got my installation tool. That's this thing. This fits. So you drive that in just like that. You put the rear main in, and then you put a hammer on here. It is supposed to be installed flush to the back of the engine, so that's what that does for you. You can see where I was having the leak. All this oil here, that's the oil getting slung around, and it drips down into here and it leaks out. So that definitely was a problem. And I could see the leak can come out of the sides of the side seal. Let's go underneath the car and I'll show you where we are on that. Okay, up here, I've got that pilot bushing driven in so that it's the top of the bushing is aligned flush with the end of the bevel. So I get there a little closer. So it's actually set in a little bit. You want a nice smooth transition. So I get a better angle of that bevel. There you go, like that. So when the input shaft slides in, it doesn't get hung up on the edge of the pilot bush. So we'll go through that, and here's what I was talking about, how I was having a problem with the alignment tool. I don't think I can do all this with one hand. Maybe I can. I'm working on getting some better lighting, guys, so just bear with me for a little bit. This should be tight now. Oh yeah. See, before, that was just not happening. That was a very tight fit. I mean, a very loose fit. This thing would wobble around. Now, if anything, it's tight, so that's good. So this is the alignment tool, by the way. It basically simulates the input shaft. So when you put the clutch disc in, you put all this together on, and it aligns the clutch disc spline, so that theoretically your transmission goes on easy. Here's the transmission over here. There's your new Koyo bearing on it. Nice and quiet. You can't hear it, but it's totally smooth. And the old one was sort of like an old roller skate. When I said it wasn't noisy like an old roller skate, but it would keep spinning. You would spin that thing and just spin, spin. And bearings aren't supposed to do that. They're supposed. I would say they're supposed to be tight, but they're not supposed to just free spin forever. So you want to be able to take that bearing. I wish I had better lighting here. And just take it and get a spin like this, and it just stop, So I'll put some heat. I have the grease that came with the clutch kit goes on these splines. I put a little bit of oil if you want to on that. Although it's got an oil light. That bronze bush is an oil light. I did soak it in oil overnight. Then I froze it and put it to help the installation, to get it in the tool. In fact, I even had I even used an old tool like this to kind of get it started, banging it in so it goes straight. I used it, but that thing broke pretty easy. That wasn't a very good idea. Anyway, that's where we are. Hopefully that'll take care of the leak. If it doesn't, then I'll deal with the pan gasket. I was debating whether or not I should deal with the pan gasket at this time, but I've changed the pan gaskets before with the transmission installed, so I know you can do that. I was thinking it might be easier to do it with the trans off, but then you got to figure out some way of supporting the back of the engine, you know. Right now this engine is being supported by that block. If I take the pan gasket off, I'd have to support it by the ears of the engine, and I don't like that idea. I mean, I don't know how what I would fix that to. I wouldn't want to try to rig something up here. So I think you know, run away, you know, fight that battle on a later day. So I'm going to just go ahead and bolt the transmission back up, clean it real good with some brake clean, see if that takes care of my very small, I mean like 1 drop a night oil leak. If it does, then I'll be happy with that and I won't fool with it. If I still have an oil leak, okay, I'll come back and I'll deal with the oil pan. But anyway, that's where we are. Hopefully I'll be able to get the transmission to go back in easily. And I'm hoping with a tighter pilot bush too, that might make, you know, that might have been a little bit of what was going on too when I'm talking about the chatter. You know, when you first start off, you release the clutch, it would kind of, you know, vibrate a little bit, just kind of almost like you were not doing a good, like almost like it was like as if the flywheel was warped and it was like catching and letting go. I'm thinking now maybe, I wonder if maybe the input shaft was just, you know, vibrating a little bit around in that bush, and you know, I don't know if that could be it or not, but whatever. I had a new bushing. It came with the kit. You might as well go ahead and use it, right, Yard? Yard's my buddy. He was so sure that I was going to just, you know, wimp out and it's good enough and leave the old one in there. I said no. If that installation tool does not go in tight and it's wobbling around, I guarantee you I'm replacing that bushing. That's exactly what we did. Anyway, more to come later. I just want to give you an update on where we are. Here's my setup. I got 12-ton jacks on all the jack points. You see they're all the way down. I like that because the car's good and high anyway. I could actually jack it up a little bit more and have elevated this thing, but this is high enough to do the work, so that's fine. Anyway, more to come later. Thanks for watching. Bye.